we started working together back in May, right? I think May of last year. It's almost been a year.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was just starting to bring my business online. I had done, just in-person coaching, and I was a little overwhelmed by, all the things that I could possibly be doing. And then I found you, and you really helped me tap into who I am authentically. And I never really got pulled into all the, photo shoots in Paris or, whatever else, kind of things that were out there, because I started out, because I've never fit in. I feel like that's never been something I could do. I do have a sales funnel, but I don't,
No, you
it's not everything that I do, but
no, you do things authentically. Keep going.
yeah, I try, and so when I connected with you, you really taught me how to speak to at the time, I think, I don't remember what we called them, but they're special someones now,
Yeah.
right, to, their emotions and to their heart, the way that I would have wanted to be spoken to when I was at that place, which I had already learned, kind of come to that a little on my own, but you also really helped me understand that my ideal clients have so much in common with me. And so they will resonate. And that it's proven true time and time again, that as long as I'm, authentically presenting myself, the right people always come through the door. And I think that was one of the biggest gifts I got from, working with you. And then also doing the Abundant Business course. There's some awesome exercises in there too that, I feel like they're fun, but they're really effective too. And that's what's important.
Let me try and summarize this. Okay, I quit. I was a graphic designer for about 10 years. Well, 8 back then. In 2014, I quit my full-time job as a graphic designer. And my plan at the time was to just freelance in design. And then I decided that I didn't like the corporate world and that I was kind of fed up of getting all these really horrible clients. And then I kind of discovered through a coach of mine that's, well, not really a coach, but like somebody I knew at the time, I discovered like all these entrepreneur groups. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? All these women starting their own businesses, like, wow. And then like I met up with all these coaches, and then I'm like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. They kind of like sit there and talk to people and give people advice. Well, that's cool. I can give people advice. Okay. And that's, some time after that, I met Diane. And yeah, so at the time I wanted to be a coach, and then I wanted to be a healer because I do have healing abilities. But something didn't feel right. There was something missing. Like, okay, sure, giving advice, healing, that's all good. But like, I was just, I don't know. I was like bored. I was like, I didn't feel like I didn't have that passion. Mm-hmm. And, I finally got, and I've been I was told many times, I'm someone who always gets readings done and like kind of psychic readings and such. Mm-hmm. And I've been told various times, like, you should paint. You're creative. You're supposed to use your creative gifts. And I never understood that. And then one day when somebody else told me that I should be painting, I'm like, oh, I get it. Mm-hmm. And then I realized I was supposed to put my gifts together. And that's kind of how it started.
What everybody else was doing in business. And I was like, I just do not want to try and fit in here at all. Like, if this is the game, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. And I started talking about fuck the funnel, like, was my big thing. Like, fuck the funnel. You don't have to have a sales funnel. It doesn't have to look like that. You can talk to people and relate to people and like have them fall in love with you and you fall in love with them. And it can just be beautiful, because that's what life's about. And so I put it out there in social media to my circle, and I was like, who can help me find those words that say that with less F-bombs, maybe a little bit, and can explain this wild hand motions that I like to make and everything that I do. And resounding was like, Diane Polly, you got to talk to Diane Polly. If you're not talking to Diane Polly, why are you talking to anybody? So I talked to you, and I've never felt so heard, so held, so like we were just in complete alignment with one another. And we knew exactly, you know, where I was going, because you were walking that same walk with me, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just so freaking beautiful to have it there. So since then, I just keep sharing that message and poking that bear a little bit about this is the way that you can do business, and holding this higher vision for myself and for other women that I guide and lead and impact. And I do that through love notes, which is hilarious because you were about love notes. And I'm like, I've been writing love notes for years.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most powerful things Diane did, and this is what I wanted to bring to the table, was process your history and your story. Dive in deep to something that you could be bypassing. I bypassed a lot of my history and my story because I was ashamed and I was scared and I didn't understand how that was by any means going to serve anyone. And then all of a sudden, being very patient and being very internal and processing what she was really teaching, that the subtlety in yourself and the subtleties of what you have to offer are the gifts that everyone's actually seeking. And so, you know, this purpose for profit is so much bigger than what she's actually saying, because they talk about this ideal client all the time. And what she's saying about how it doesn't feel funny when you have to exchange money, it doesn't feel like that, it's so true. Because when you're in purpose and you're in sync with that, the relationship happens first. And then all of a sudden, you are truly giving them what they absolutely need. They're hiring you to take them where you've already been. And you can do that effortlessly because you've sat there in it and you've processed it and you realize that your story truly is your purpose.
So I'll just start from last April. I was like not sure what I wanted to do, and I was kind of like, you know, if everybody else is doing business coaching, maybe I should do business coaching, kind of like similar to what other people have said. But I was like, this year really stood my ground. I was like, I'm meant to serve immigrants. I'm meant to help them get the jobs that they want. So I kind of did more of a rebranding this year. But Diane's workshop really helped me to see that there's like a part A and a part B. And if you can help them see that they're not like alone, you know, it's not just, you know, you're born and you're perfect. It's okay to be on this journey. It's okay to be vulnerable. And her workshop really helped me be okay with where people are so that they can connect with me, because I was so kind of like obsessed with looking like, oh, I want to be perfect. I want to be like the best coach. But it's all about, can they see you helping them? Can you relate to them as like a human being and help them see that you're the person to get where they want to be?
Yeah.
How I started off learning all the strategies, thinking that is the answer. Like, oh, I just have a vision, I have a dream, and just to move forward in that. But there's so much more. I got even more confused than when I first started without having the foundation in place. And I needed to go through the steps to build a strong foundation, because without that, I could feel myself being pulled in different directions. I could feel myself being scatterbrained, confused, really kind of all over the place. And I also knew that I didn't want to be like that, especially in the public eye. And just through going through all the steps in the process, I reached to a place where I got connected to my core message, like threw everything out the window that was not in alignment, even though, you know, these people that I hired to tell me what to do, it just wasn't really matching to what I wanted to do. And it started to kind of feel like a regular job, in a sense, where you're being told or guided to a way where you just feel in your heart that's not what you want to do. And like what Dora said, how people would say like, oh yeah, you're creative, or I sense like you have all these creativity inside you. And I used to think like, what? I don't feel like I have one creative bone in my body. Like all I did was just study math and science my whole life. And through speaking with Diane, we uncovered that I did have all these like passion desires that I threw on the side because I thought I didn't have creativity. And just with working with Dan, it just sparked this, like the right side of my brain that I just felt like I haven't used in years. And it's just been really fun.
Diane, I had already had an existing business doing my artwork, but it felt like something was missing. Like you guys have said, you know, like I was so money driven and missing the purpose of it all. I knew I didn't like the way I was doing things, but wasn't sure how to change it. And if I can just piggyback a little bit on this real quick, she Leah told me when we started working together that she had an order that came in, which she loved doing the work for, but she all of a sudden felt like a factory. And you never want to feel like that in your business. And all of a sudden, like you feel like your power is gone. Like all of a sudden you're just the work. And the other person has power over you, can go in all different ways. So she said, Diane, help me to see the way I was attempting to do business wasn't lined up with who I was fundamentally. It's been quite a road of transformation. But after uprooting my life, which she just did on the East Coast 2 weeks ago, and moving myself and my business cross country, I feel like I'm setting the foundation now for the way I want to do business. For me, it was not only a business overhaul, but a personal overhaul, which it really was. I needed to make it all line up, inside and outside, in my business. But now my soul feels like it's on the right path with this fresh perspective, and I'm ready to start doing business my way in a way that feels true to me. That means only making things that truly come from my soul and concentrating on being in integrity as a basis. Sounds good, right? Yeah.
The group, this lady was commenting about how she wanted to interview people. And I was like, oh, great, sure. I want to, see if we're a good fit for the interview. And as I was talking to her just about the things you talked about, Diane, what I stand for, what I believe, how I'm working, how I want to work with my special someones and all that great stuff, the tables just kind of turned to where she was like super excited to work with me. And I wasn't even, trying to, of course, I'm not trying to sell anybody. I'm just talking about my own truth and what I stand for and what I believe, those deeper things that you helped pull out of me that I didn't even know was necessarily relevant to the business side of things, because you tend to, so I'm a makeup artist at heart. So I look at the tangible service, like you were saying, the tangible service is applying the makeup, but I wasn't going like beyond that, or I would say that foundational piece before that. And just wanted to share too that, rebranding my makeup business to having it be this purposeful business, where I have the service side of it, but I'm able to talk with women and share with them on the inner side of things and the spiritual and emotional things that go with that comes in place before you can actually start a business. I think that all of that is so important, and it's helped me to rebrand myself completely and to be able to just expand my services. So I utilize what you've taught me within the coaching side of my business and also within the service, more tangible, practical side of my business as well. So I always like to say that, what you teach, it goes for any business, that I strongly believe that. So just want to share that, yes, that's exactly how I attracted, a client without even really trying, without thinking I needed to be, buy this, or get this, or me, like having to be in that front and center, but just honestly, just speaking from a pure place and from your truth. So yeah,